Hi everyone, Barry Skillington here with Straight Talking Science, our latest episode. I am delighted to be joined by Professor Siobhain O'Mahony. Siobhain is a professor in neurobiology and women's health in University College Cork. She's a lecturer. She also runs a lab and is recently starting into the commercial world with some really exciting products that should help a lot of people in these particular areas of women's health. So welcome, Siobhain.
Thank you, Barry.
So much for coming.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So, as you know, we try to distill science, really good science, from Cork and the Cork ecosphere of amazing scientists. We try to distill it down for people to understand, A, what research is being done, and B, what does it all mean? Some of these terms that we hear all the time that are really interesting, but we don't understand them. So, we're lay people, for the most part. I'm a lay person. Siobhain's not a lay person. So our guests, I hope, are not lay. We're going to explore women's health. Now, women's health is a massive area, so we're going to talk, and we'll see how far we get.
Yep,
We're going to talk about kind of areas. First of all, what area probably interests you the most?
Yeah.
And from there, maybe perimenopause, menopause, and then wherever we can get to thereafter. Okay?
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Sounds great.
All right.
Excellent.
So maybe you start with, just in terms of you and your research and what you do and what interests you the most, and then we can just...
Yeah, super. I suppose, look, I've worked in the area of the gut microbiome for about 20 years, and myself and my PhD supervisor were some of the first people in the world to come up with the concept of the microbiome gut-brain axis. So I've always really been interested in how our gut health and the bacteria within our bowel really affects our brain health. So this is really my area of passion for a long time now. And I suppose I've carried out many studies, and a lot of those actually, I have to say, embarrassingly, were just male-focused. It's easier sometimes to carry out studies on males, and this has been the way research has been for many, many years. Men don't go through the menstrual cycle. They don't have the classical fluctuations in hormones that women have. But then I suppose over the last 5 years, and I suppose around the start of COVID actually, I started to become really interested in women's health, and particularly how the bacteria within our gut is different between men and women, and what that actually means. Why is it different, and how are the bacteria influencing our brains differently between men and women? So I suppose that's really where my women's health research started initially, was investigating how the bacteria in our gut is different between men and women, how it changes over the menstrual cycle, and what it means for our nervous system, including our brain and our stress systems. And I suppose we carried out a few studies then with colleagues in the hospital, Cork University Hospital, looking at the different microbes between men and women, and particularly then how they were affected by stress. And whilst we have differences in microbiome within our guts, and that's fine, everybody does really, we found that the same stress level, we say a score of 9 on a stress questionnaire, that affected the gut microbiome differently between men and women. Women's good bacteria, we'll say, were much more decreased with the same level of stress as men. So this really intrigued me, because for many years I've said, women suffer more from stress, depression, anxiety and so on, and also pain-related disorders. But now we had a real measure to show that stress levels actually affected the bacteria in our bowel at a differential impact, or had a differential impact. So that's where I started. I suppose I started coming up with this concept of a sex-specific intervention of some sort to actually see how we can manage women's gut microbiome to improve brain health. So I suppose that's really where my research is going.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah. Because we've had a couple of episodes where we talk about microbiome. We started with fermented foods, but also bacteria. And so we've introduced the concept, I suppose, to the listeners about, the microbiome. It's on us and in us and kind of what it does. So this is good. So this is an area now where we'll sort of explore the difference between men and women and the difference in their microbiome. Okay, so where to begin? I mean, so it's very broad.
It is.
And what I've seen, because, we're Atlantia Clinical Trials, we do a lot of clinical research for companies in lots of spaces, but women's health now seems to be one of the mega trends, okay? And so it should be. I mean, it's getting the credence now that it should have got years ago, and only now is really coming up in the media, and there's a real push towards research. No one's claiming any glory. What I think the call is that more research, more sex-specific research needs to be done, and then therapies will follow that thereafter.
Yeah.
Okay, so for us women.
Don't be claiming that now.
All right, and mostly. Where to start? Let's say beyond healthy aging and healthy microbiome in young women, which maybe we can circle back to. But let's start at maybe perimenopause, let's say. So when issues start to arise.
Yeah.
So maybe you could talk to people about, beyond like common symptomology, but from the inside, from a microbiome perspective, what's going on and what could be
Yeah.
done to change and what should you maybe be trying. And, because there's a lot of angst around it, seems to be a lot of concern around it. And obviously, it's a huge problem. So maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I suppose just to link between the first kind of explanation that I went into was that there is what we discovered as well in our subset of men and women was that there's a set of bacteria called the Estrobolome. It's actually one of my favourite communities of bacteria. I am a nerd, sorry. But it's a set of bacteria that's really important for our hormone metabolism.
Right.
So one of the, I suppose, the most important hormones that we've probably heard of in women's health is estrogen. Now, there's different types of estrogen, but we don't probably need to go into them today. There's one that's really beneficial with regard to affecting our reproductive system, our brain health, our gut health, our bone health, our metabolism. And that's really the most potent or the strongest form of estrogen. Okay? So we have this set of bacteria within our bowel, and usually estrogen is excreted as other things are excreted through our bowel as well, because you want to have this balance. Estrogen is continuously being produced by our ovaries, but then of course you want to use up that estrogen, but then also you want to excrete what's left over and get rid of it from the body, because you don't want an overrepresentation of estrogen. So this set of bacteria, though, are really cool, because what they actually do is they recycle the estrogen back into the body. So estrogen usually gets flushed out through the poo, but this set of bacteria can break it apart from deconjugate it and put it back into our blood system and put it around the body. So really, I suppose what happens when we see declining levels of estrogen, which actually happens from about 35 years of age in a woman, which is normal and healthy, but just being aware that symptoms can start to manifest in women from about 35 years onwards, because estrogen and progesterone are starting to decline naturally. So what we tend to see is then a change in the level of these bacteria called the estrobolome. So these bacteria that are waiting there ready for estrogen to flush through the gut. So because there's less estrogen flushing through the gut, because there's less being produced by ovaries, there's less of this specific sets of bacteria to allow the estrogen to be circulated around the body as well. So your hormones decrease. The bacteria that are associated with hormone metabolism also decrease. But with that, within that set of bacteria as well, is also bacteria species that are anti-inflammatory, that are really good at minding your gut health as well. So what we see as we age is decreases in hormones, changes to our gut microbiome as well, and some in a detrimental way that actually make the gut more leaky, so kind of holy, and allows then a kind of inflammatory status within the body that can lead to joint pain, different effects within the body, changes to metabolism and so on. So they both go hand in hand, the estrogen and gonadal hormones decrease, and also those bacteria associated with estrogen metabolism, and a healthy gut profile decrease too.
Right. Okay, and so is that perimenopause we're in now?
In the perimenopause, so from 35 onwards. As your hormones change, so does your gut bacteria.
And that scenario gets worse as you head into menopause, or?
It does, if you don't mind your gut bacteria and your gut health and your well-being.
Okay, so there's intervention to be had then?
Absolutely.
Okay, good, good. Whew.
Yeah.
Right, so in terms of that then, some of the symptoms that are common in the media between hot flushes and mood swings and all sorts of everything, what could maybe talk about, is there things, common interventions people could do, diet and lifestyle, or what can they do?
Well, I suppose before we talk about interventions, we do know there are common symptoms that are highlighted by the media, known for many years: hot flushes, night sweats, palpitations. But one of the things that I'm really passionate about, and I'm a neuroscientist, is brain health.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most shocking things that we discovered in our consumer research as well. We asked women about their symptoms, and over 64% of women had anxiety. Now, anxiety is disgusting if anybody has ever suffered from it. It can affect your well-being at home, at work, and so on. So I suppose when a woman starts to feel a little bit different to herself. Now, these stages of life are quite busy. You might have kids, you might be, they might be growing up. There's a lot of activities with those kids and a lot of driving around. So, but if you start to feel changes, whatever they may be, then you start to think, well, maybe, is there something I could change about my lifestyle? Is there something I could change about my diet? Could I go, meet friends more often? So there is things that can be changed. And I would always say, whilst we are developing new supplements for women's health, what I would say definitely is diet first, or try to change your diet first. Because while we talk about perimenopause, and I've spoken about this a few times as well, is that we actually need to mind our gut pre-perimenopause, which sounds like do we have any time to actually just relax in life? But in actual fact, minding your gut health before the age of 35 is really important for how you're going to respond then to declining estrogen levels and also changes to your microbiome as well. So
Okay.
minding your gut health with your diet definitely is the first thing to do.
Okay. So let's focus on that for a sec, right?
Yeah.
Because like I suppose that advice is good advice, but to
Yeah.
be specific for people like mind. So you go into the supermarket and you go down to the minding my gut health aisle, and there you go, and you
Okay.
check out and you're good.
Uh-huh.
So people don't know what to do, what to
Yeah.
buy, what's good for my gut. So
Yeah.
common foods
Well, for women, it's really important,
for
I
women. Yeah.
suppose, to pick up foods that are associated with estrogen metabolism. So that contain these things called isoflavones, which are also anti-inflammatory as well.
Okay.
So elements such as soya, for example, so you can soya milk or tofu. Not really that into that myself, but still they do contain isoflavones, which are beneficial for women. But also there's those beans, the edamame beans,
Yeah.
and also soya-containing products. Flax seeds, which are actually easy to consume. Seeds are super with regard to isoflavones, which are kind of, when they're broken down, they mimic estrogen in the body.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so that's really important. But if you're missing the microbes to break those down,
Okay.
then you are missing a trick with isoflavones as well. So minding your gut health, your microbiome, consuming then foods that contain isoflavones are really, really important.
Okay. So I'm missing the microbes.
Yeah.
What do I do? Can I do anything about that? I won't
You
know,
can.
of course.
You won't know. You
Yeah.
won't know.
As
You might feel
as
slightly
an
bloated.
insurance policy,
Yeah,
maybe.
absolutely. So fibre is the first.
Okay.
So potentially starting off with fibre-rich foods,
Yeah.
different types of fibre. So what's really healthy for women as well is things like pears, for example, onions, garlic. But sometimes onions and garlic can bloat us a little bit. So potentially starting off with pears, bananas as well are really good healthy sources of fibre. So
Right.
different types of fibre feed different bacteria within our gut.
Okay.
So if you can find several different sources, that's why maybe they say 5 a day,
Yeah.
because they're different fibres. Because we actually, the bacteria within our bowel, actually, the only way to feed them is with fibre that we consume.
Okay.
If you think about that, we have to mind our microbes. It's a symbiotic relationship, so
Yes.
they're getting an awful lot from us. Like they're living here, so they're getting an awful lot from us. So let's feed them a little bit, so to make them work for us.
Okay. And
Fibre.
actually, in the other episodes we've done, and like if, in a lot of media, you'll see an online, and I want to talk about misinformation in a sec. But so fiber, and we talk a lot about fiber, and we hear a lot about fiber, and fab. So you name some foods, which is great. So like diversity in the diet, right? Just should we be always munching on vegetables / fruit, trees, leaves, anything we can find?
Well, what I would say is that we've heard this a lot, as you say as well. Like we've heard mind your microbes, mind your diet, increase your fibre. It can get quite boring. So what I would say is absolutely splash out and get the tastiest fibre-rich food that you can.
Right.
Get those foods that you love. Don't be thinking, jeepers, I've got to consume celery on a daily basis here now if you don't like celery. But definitely get the foods that you find really tasty and exciting to have in salads.
Okay.
So, add things like blueberries, raspberries. I mean, these are really tasty, nice and nutritious
Yeah.
berries to have that are anti-inflammatory but also promote good gut health as well. Now, you can get them frozen if you don't want to buy packets and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say try to, entice yourself to buy foods that you're actually attracted to. Maybe the different coloured foods as well, like those really highly coloured foods are also nicer to see in salads, for example. So you do have to use the imagination a little bit, but also, keep trying to keep the salads exciting because we can all get bored with the same old salads every
Yeah.
day. And then we tend to move back then to more processed food.
Right.
Anything that is touched or manufactured in some way is processed. So at the best, you would just have completely unprocessed foods every
Okay.
day. It's not always possible,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
at least try it for 2 meals a day.
Right. Yeah. And we did talk about whole foods before, and that's so that plays right into that, which is ideal. So anything unprocessed, as you say, raw vegetables and fruits they're whole foods.
Yep.
So as many and berries, yeah, nuts. Okay, that's good. So that's the foods, right? So what else can we do?
Well,
What else can women do? I'm sorry. Sorry.
well, it's nice we're together. It's
Yep.
nice, yeah. That's nice that you're
Absolutely.
sympathetic.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about that and the role of
Okay.
the partner in perimenopause.
All right.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
you're a man that wants to get educated about perimenopause and menopause, which is great.
Yeah.
And that should be something that probably keeps marriages alive, to be honest, because can be a very changeable and a very fluctuating mood situation with
Yeah.
women. So actually, there's a talk in UCC soon about this, about men's role during perimenopause as well.
Really, yeah.
So it is important for the partner, not just men, for partners to understand what happens during perimenopause, and also then how they can help their partner as well.
Yeah.
And hand in hand, I mean, the woman going through perimenopause as well needs to understand that her behaviour has changed in some way. And then just to talk about things together. But anyway, besides that and besides men,
That's important, though. I
it
mean,
is
so yeah,
important.
because I'm assuming half the battle here is a psychological battle,
Yeah.
and it's a battle against aging. And as your
Yeah.
body starts to slow down, there's a whole psychological effect.
Yeah.
So having
Completely.
support from partners who are also aging, men, we have our own problems, lads, but not as bad. Okay, so in terms of that,
Yeah.
then, like beyond the diet,
Yeah.
what other strategies do we have?
I think exercise is important, but again, like I'm not expecting everybody to run out, getting loads of gear, running down the road. Most people hate running. Most people I chat to hate running. I run because it's free and you don't need many bits and pieces. You don't need a pair of runners
Right.
and a high vis vest. But exercise, walking with a friend. I think when we talk about exercise as well, or we think about exercise, sometimes it can be lonely, or people are like, oh, geez, I'm the one that has to get up now at 6 a.m. and go out by myself. Don't do that if you don't like to do it. So what it is about perimenopause is a time that actually you should feel free to actually do what you want to do to make you feel better. Somebody said to me, I think about 4 years ago, you deserve to feel well. And if you think about that today, everybody deserves to feel well.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you think you can do to make yourself feel well on a daily basis, do it. If it's a walk with a friend at lunchtime, grabbing a coffee, takeaway coffee, just have a little wander around the park, that's exercise.
Yeah.
As long as you get up and move.
Right. Yeah.
I would say get out of the house. Don't be there doing housework thinking this is exercise. That's great that housework has to be done. But you deserve to get outside into the fresh air. Getting some time alone with a friend who might be going through similar things is very, very important. Or who's not and can just listen to you.
Yeah.
Chatting, and studies have shown that female friends are really important at this stage of life as well. Like
Right.
chatting through what's going on in your life, or just supporting you with regard to stuff that's happening at work is just really important to offload onto each other, not that it's a one-way street, as well. So exercise, but also companionship with somebody that kind of understands you as well outside of the house is really important for well-being.
Okay, and so in terms of, so that's really good. And that's very pragmatic advice, right? Because like all the expert advice in the world sometimes is way too highbrow. So this is just stuff you can do. But in terms then of symptomologies and like what should women be looking out for when this change starts? What can they do?
Some of it can just feel a little bit like you're off yourself. So some of this is up to about 40 different symptoms now. But some of them can manifest before 40.
Right.
People think that perimenopause symptoms only start around 45, but that's the average individual. But even if you start to feel off, why not just go to your GP and say, I'm starting to feel a little bit unlike myself? But some of the symptoms can start with, as we know, the classic ones where you heat up and there's hot flushes during the daytime, which is actually, I've seen people go through it and they get red from their neck upwards and they actually start to sweat really quickly. So people will know when they're going through it. Right. Or else there's the sweats at nighttime where you're just soaked in sweat. But also then there are ones that we're not that aware of or people don't talk that much about. Heart palpitations, the lack of confidence, the weight gain as well is another thing. I mean, we could all gain weight over the summer, which always happens, of course, as well. But if you can't lose it when you go back to your normal routine as well, this is a sign of maybe your hormones actually changing. I've mentioned the brain health one, and it's one that I'm really passionate about because it's something that hasn't been talked about or something that isn't really treated for women besides antidepressants. Anxiolytics are sometimes given to women during this stage of their life when actually maybe what they actually need is some natural interventions like food first, exercise, companionship, and maybe minding their gut microbiome as well, as opposed to pharmacological intervention first. But yeah, anxiety is a huge thing for women that I see, and sleep disturbances. So if we put sleep disturbances first, if you can't sleep, it's going to make everything worse.
Yeah.
You know yourself, if you can't sleep when you have a newborn baby or when, you're having a tough time at work or you're traveling, it makes everything worse. So if you could try to manage sleep and I suppose improve your sleep, and it's difficult to do without intervention as well, but making sure you get exercise, making sure you're in the light during the daytime.
Right.
So balancing your circadian rhythm, because this is what happens as well when our hormones change. is our circadian rhythm actually starts to become off kilter. So that's why we don't sleep properly.
All right.
We're waking
Okay.
up in the middle of the night and our body thinks it's daytime.
Yeah.
So if you could manage to, I don't know why I'm pointing at you, but anyway.
I hear you.
If you
I
could
hear you.
manage to
I hear you, girl.
get daylight, make sure you get light during the day. Your clock then, your circadian clock then, there's clock genes in all of our cells, can become fooled or convinced that this is daytime, I need to be awake during the light. And then when it becomes dusk time, then you start introducing I need to start going to bed now, because there's changes in melatonin as well, which we don't have to go into today, but our hormones rule all of these elements.
Okay, but like we might as well talk about it because
Yeah.
sleep is massive. I mean, I hear
Yeah.
everywhere about
Every age.
disrupted sleep,
Yeah.
and now there's a lot of information out there, and so misinformation. Let's just touch on because I do want to circle back to sleep and maybe things you can do for sleep hygiene. And everybody has their own routine, like whether it's eye patches or earplugs or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about misinformation for 1 second. So we've been quite pragmatic in the food. It's fiber, it's whole foods,
Yep.
it's, eat as many colors, and you've heard that before, but that's just the basics of it.
Yeah.
What have you heard online that you go, oh my God, that's 100% wrong?
About sleep?
About anything to do with perimenopause or menopause and things you should do, like,
Well, I suppose it could be kind of controversial as well, is that HRT is a fix-all.
Okay.
So,
It isn't?
no,
Okay.
not at all.
Right.
And not every woman can take hormone replacement therapy, which is HRT.
Okay.
It would be amazing if HRT worked for every single woman going through perimenopause and menopausal symptoms. There is a big issue with it. There hasn't been enough research done on it. We haven't monitored women's normal hormones at all across across the menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
So this has never been done properly. It needs to be something where there is it's continually measured on a daily basis to know what a woman's normal, healthy gonadal hormones are when she's happy and healthy.
Okay.
And there is no way we could manage to do that with hormone replacement therapy intervention. So while hormone replacement therapy is really beneficial for some women, it's not suitable for all women, and especially not those women that have a cancer risk as well.
Okay.
So there are cases where it cannot be consumed. There are cases where it does not work. But also there are women that have to take hormone replacement therapy. And those women are women that have gone into early menopause. So if you suffer from, we should have started with this actually. Perimenopause is before you stop your periods.
Yes.
But menopause is actually really the day where you have no periods for 12 months. It's kind of like the anniversary of having no periods for 12 months, and then you're postmenopausal. So you're menopausal for 1 day, which is the anniversary of having no periods for 12 months, and then you're postmenopausal. We didn't start with that. We should have started with that. Anyway, so women that when they start too much?
No. Just write that down. Write it down.
But women that go into early menopause, which are those women before 40, have to take hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
Because it's just too early for those hormones to naturally decline.
Okay.
And then also as well, what we need to think about is women that have had surgical menopause as well. So where the ovaries or the womb have also been removed, but the ovaries are the primary production site for estrogens. So when surgical menopause happens, those women do need to have hormone replacement therapy of some sort.
And so are you kind of saying that HRT should be personalised, almost like we talk about
Yeah.
personalised nutrition, but
It
it's
would be
not
amazing.
because you don't have any baseline data?
Yes.
And is there any home tests where you could be monitoring your hormone levels?
There are tests you can buy, like in the health food stores, like urine tests to actually measure your hormones. But I mean, then what are you going to do with that data? Take it to your doctor?
Yeah.
There is no.
So it's not joined up thinking.
No,
isn't-
not yet, not
Okay.
yet. Now, I do see women that go on hormone replacement therapy. It doesn't work properly for them for the first few weeks, and then they go back to their doctor and get it fixed and sorted and so on.
Yeah.
So it can be a learning curve between the doctor and patient for a month or two, and sometimes it settles. But
Okay.
it would be amazing to see more research in baseline hormone levels in women when they feel well, and then being able to tailor their hormone replacement
Right.
therapy for that. It would be fabulous.
So HRT is not a panacea, so it's not for everyone.
No.
What other massive misinformation, or is there any?
Well, that, I suppose, the fact that, some of the symptoms will just go away by themselves,
And you hear
that
that
you
a
should
lot.
cope with it.
Yeah.
Or also, as well, the genetic scenario where our moms didn't suffer. God, my mother was fine. Oh, no, she was absolutely no symptoms. I don't know. No, definitely not suffer from symptoms myself. So
Yeah.
the genetic component, and that not that it's this, not that we have to rule it out, but the fact was, I suppose, there were very different cultural expectations of women, maybe 20 or 30 years
Right.
ago.
Yeah.
There wasn't really, hormone replacement therapy wasn't as common. Also, interventions that were alternative to HRT weren't that common as well. And also, saying you were perimenopausal and menopausal was really not at all to happen. But nowadays, I suppose what we need to appreciate is that women can talk about their
Yeah.
menopausal
Yeah,
symptoms
yeah.
and perimenopausal symptoms as well. So I suppose, yeah,
Which
you
is
don't have to
good.
be.
So like this whole push for, and like if you think of what's it a push for, it's women suffering through all of these symptomologies, and it's been ignored for millennia, and now it's a push for more research
Yeah.
to get more, alleviation and to get rid of some of these symptoms or help with some of these symptoms. So like if you were to say to people from the research community,
Yeah.
like, or even to the lay community, you need to keep the voice heard.
Yeah.
People should be pushing,
Yeah.
be pushing their doctors. But do you think doctors are taking this seriously? Male
No.
doctors, maybe?
Oh, they are. They are.
Yeah.
They are. No, absolutely. And I think what we see now is that because there's much more awareness around perimenopause and menopause, and there's also research funding is really starting to be tailored for women's health specifically,
Okay.
which we're seeing across the world, which is phenomenal. So no, doctors are definitely taking it seriously, and I think they would love to see more research being carried out. Because I know lots of menopause doctors that work around here in Cork, and they really want to link in with us
Okay.
to kind of be involved in our studies as well, which we started actually in a perimenopausal cohort as well. So women and GPs are definitely, and the communities are starting to be so responsive to wanting research to be carried out, and the funding agencies are now starting to support us as well. So there's
Okay.
real hope for women's health, not just perimenopause, but also other conditions across
Yeah.
the life stages too. But yeah,
Which we haven't touched on.
That's
And
okay.
maybe there'll be a separate episode with other conditions. But
Yeah.
like, so just to box this off then, right? We'll synopsize.
Yep.
We have, I don't even know where to start. So we have diet, we have exercise, we have minding your microbes, we
Yeah.
have keeping your mind active
Yes.
and your social connections active.
definitely.
Okay. Um, in terms of not ignoring your symptomologies,
No.
making sure you stay on it when you feel off,
Yeah,
don't ignore it,
exactly.
and don't let social pressure determine, whether you do or don't have symptoms.
Exactly.
If you do, you do.
Exactly.
Am I missing anything else? Like to close out menopause, perimenopause,
Well, I do.
and that whole 1 day thing that I didn't really get have to write down.
It's okay. I do forget about it. I suppose, and then the final thing is for women not to feel, that they're weak or vulnerable if they are suffering from symptoms.
Okay.
It's normal and natural and healthy to talk about it. So I think talking about it and being proactive is actually good for your mind and your body as well.
Yeah.
So not to feel like you are weak. It is a natural change in our bodies, and it's actually evolution. So we're meant to have a change in hormones. We're meant to have a decrease. But also it's a very positive thing that a woman that I admire said one day as well. There's a change in different hormones in our body during this time as well. But one of those is oxytocin. So oxytocin is known as the love hormone. And really, we have increased in oxytocin when we have babies, we breastfeed them and we're all like caring for them as well. There's also a decline in oxytocin around this stage as well, which means you actually become more selfish. So actually, you end up actually loving yourself more. So I think if women would just embrace that and say, look, I am suffering from these symptoms. I need to take action. I need to take care of myself during this stage. And then it all comes around full circle as well. Back to the partner, back to the family, back to your friends.
Yeah.
So minding yourself first is really beneficial to the family unit and to your friends as well.
And the last thing, is there, I don't want to say light at the end of the tunnel, but like you come through this, you get through this, right?
You do.
And do you end up in a stasis at the end where you're back to feeling normal and everything's okay?
Look, I think...
Or is it different forever?
It's potentially different forever. But that's okay. We all age and we're all going to become different over time.
Yeah.
But I suppose maybe one thing we could touch on is the type of research that I'm doing.
Yes.
That isn't specifically for perimenopause, but it's also for the longevity of women.
Okay.
So we've designed a supplement specifically for perimenopause, specifically around brain and gut health.
All right.
But it's not just, whilst the study or the cohort that we studied it in were women from 45 years to 50, because that's a time when we see the symptoms are worsened.
Okay.
Well, what we've done is we've designed a probiotic supplement with a fibre to actually replace the missing microbes during the perimenopausal phase. And whilst we'll hopefully launch the product next year, whilst we have had the initial cohort of the perimenopausal set of women, it is really important to keep minding your gut and your brain health as you age anyway. So whilst people think that maybe in the post-menopausal phase that their symptoms actually do settle, which
Yeah.
is great, you do need to keep minding yourself and
Okay.
minding your microbes and minding your brain health. So we've designed the supplement to increase longevity of women and to be consumed past the menopause anniversary and
Yeah.
into the postmenopausal phase, because you do need to keep putting those microbes back in and consuming your fibre as well for your brain health.
And for general health.
General health, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So your company that you're launching is?
Fembiome.
Okay. And did you have your product name or no?
There's a lot of controversy around the name. I chose a name and people don't like it, so I won't say it today. But
Okay.
the company itself will be hopefully spun out of University College Cork early next year. And the first product is Fembiome Meno, potentially. But it's a supplement designed for perimenopausal women,
Okay.
really to alleviate symptoms associated with brain health and gut health as well around perimenopause.
Brilliant. So we'll see that on shelves
Early next year.
early next year. Fantastic. Okay. That was really interesting. Now I have a list in front of me, and we got about a third of the way down. But so if maybe there's a future episode, maybe. But I thank you so much for what is very pragmatic, very practical information. I think a lot of people, not just women, but people in
Yeah.
general, they struggle with some of the science and they panic. Oh my God, am I different? Why am I like what this? And why am I bloat? And I'm the only one in the world with these symptoms, and you're not.
Yeah.
And so people like you allay the fear. You have huge amount of expertise behind you. You have a huge amount of research expertise. And for you to be able to say to the public, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in it together. I think that helps a lot of people a lot. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Barry.